My name is Cassie Deputy. My daughter is 5, and she got diagnosed with ITP about a year and a half ago. And it's also interesting because she, on top of that, has severe lead poisoning, the highest they've seen in this state in the last 25 years. So we kind of have that combined with our journey and our story and our treatments and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to hear actually from all you guys and your stories, because I also am wondering, like, I'm not qualified really to be up here besides, just sharing what we've been through and the emotional roller coaster and stuff. So.
Though a snare is placed beneath my feet and a thorn is thrust into my side, you're good. Though the wind and waves rage all around and keep trying hard to pull me down, you're stronger. Through sickness, pain, hail, sun, or rain, I still hear you whisper my name. You're loving.
Limbs of the initial.
Sorry if I'm emotional. I'm pregnant, and I think it was April of last year. My daughter had a 3.5-hour nosebleed that we couldn't get to stop, and she was losing consciousness. And I was calling the ambulance. We went in. They found petechiae, but they didn't do any testing at all. So we went home, and a month later, the same thing happened, and we were admitted for about a week, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a Christian, and so you're not gonna be able to separate that from the story. But so we're in the hospital. She's bleeding. I mean, nose, tear ducts through her skin. She's peeing blood. She's vomiting blood. We cannot get it to stop. And I remember just like losing it. And I'm like, God, I trust you, and I know who you are, and I know your character, and I know your word. And that alone is what's brought us through several hospital visits with this. But so, her hemoglobin drops, possible transfusion needed. We waited on that, and thankfully her iron stores went up. But anytime that she gets a nosebleed, you have flashbacks to that. And it's like, I've never understood post-traumatic stress disorder, and I never really even thought it was real, to be honest. Until this last May, when she had a really long nosebleed, and I'm going back to that hospital. And I mean, there was a point where we gave her IVIG, and she got a fever. She started losing consciousness. Her blood pressure went through the roof, and I'm holding her. Her eyes were rolling back in her head. They were like, I think her platelets were like 3,000 or something. And they were like, we really are concerned about bleeding in the brain. We might take her in for a CAT scan. And man, that was hard. That was really hard. And that's literally the only thing that brought my husband and I through that, was knowing that if she were to die, she's going to heaven. She has a relationship with Jesus Christ, and that's what our foundation has been through all of this, and the ups and downs and ins and outs. And Dr. Carney's been awesome, giving us treatment options and not pushing things, and that has been the biggest blessing, is that. And then with the lead, back in the hospital again with that. So yeah, that's kind of been our initial thing, our journey.
Still I choose to worship.
Well, the cool thing is we actually homeschool our kids, so they don't miss out on too much. We're really involved in church stuff, and so the kids will go out and go up on airplanes or something, and so we'll get her platelets checked before that, and if they're too low, then I don't want her going up in an airplane. So just kind of little things like that, but it's actually been a huge advantage because of how much she's been hospitalized, and with her lead poisoning, it affects her brain a lot. So we've been able to continue school through all these treatments, and she's really advanced still, and being able to continue through that stuff. So with her, it hasn't been as much limited, but definitely in like certain physical activities where we choose not to have her in. So, Peter. relationship with Jesus Christ that makes me sure that I'll go to heaven when I die, and my daughter will too. That on top of, we have an awesome, and like I said, you're not going to separate these two with me, but we have an awesome church and family where, I mean, I can't handle it. I walk out in the hallway, I call my friend, I'm bawling my eyes out, I can't get any words out. Let's just pray. And so we pray, and then it kind of gives you the strength to get back in there, just that hope beyond is what's carried us through. And I'm a huge researcher. I love alternative therapies. I love diet. I love all that stuff. So the more information I can get, the more knowledgeable I feel like, okay, I can identify what's going on. I have all these options. I know all the side effects. Being fully informed. I'm a huge side effect person. Like, is this going to be worth it, So at the hospital when we were first diagnosed, I was given so much, she gave me a stack. She's like, do you want all of the stuff we read? I'm like, yes, and I spent hours reading. So for me, those two things are what helped me a lot through it.
You're loving, and still I'll choose to worship you. And still I know you're in control.
I think rely more on the physical thing, like how many bruises does she have, how many, or how long is this nosebleed, like is it more than 20 minutes, is it an hour, is it 2 hours, or is her stomach hurting so bad, or she's super lethargic, can't get out of bed. And then when we see those kind of things, we weigh it, and then we'll take her in and get a count, and if it's really low, then we're concerned. So we weigh how she looks and acts first, and then we still take her in, I think, once every 2 or 3 months to get her platelets run or whatever. But we're running her blood constantly anyways. But as far as limiting activities and stuff, that's kind of where we gauge this.
To my side, you're good. Though the wind and waves rage all around and keep trying hard to pull me down, you're stronger. Through sickness, pain, hail, sun, or rain, I still hear you whisper my name. You're loving, and still I choose to worship you.
It gets better, and I don't know, I would say go with your gut. Like, especially parents, you know your kids, you know what's normal, what's not. And that, yeah, it does get better. I know some kids might die from it, maybe, but in our experience, and everyone we've talked to, it gets better. The numbers may not always get better, but you learn how to deal with it, and find a good staff that listens to you. That's crucial.
Still I choose to worship you.
Well, initially we did IVIG right away in the hospital because we couldn't stop the bleeding. And then that lasted, I think, 4 weeks. And then she started plummeting again. And then we decided that we were just going to kind of wait and keep an eye on her. And we've made a lot of changes in our home. And granted, my daughter also has this lead thing that we're dealing with, but I think these are changes that are pretty healthy all around for whatever's going on. But we changed all of our cookware to cast iron. We stopped using a lot of like chemical cleaners and stuff. We used all natural like Shackley cleaner and stuff like that. got her on a multivitamin. She eats a really good diet. We have quite a few food allergies in our family too, so we just don't do a lot of processed stuff, no sugars. We've noticed all that stuff affects her bleeding. She's intolerant to gluten, so anytime she eats gluten, her stomach swells and her bleeding increases. I've been tracking it for over a year, and there's a definite increase in bleeds when she eats processed food or stuff like that. So just a lot of making sure she's getting exercise, getting outside, like normal healthy stuff. Any way we can support her immune system and support her body and get her away from stuff that's maybe making it harder for her to her body to create platelets, or I don't know, that was just our kind of reasoning behind it. But her numbers fluctuate so much, we haven't had to do any other really treatment. I mean, they've gone from, I think, 7 up to 100, down to 20. I mean, they're all over the map. So we just kind of watch it now, and we've made all those lifestyle changes, which we've noticed overall she's a lot more energetic, healthier.
Though the wind and waves rage all around and keep trying hard to pull me down, you're stronger. Through sickness, pain, hail, sun, rain, I still hear you whisper my name. You're loving, and still I'll choose to worship you. And still I know you're in control. Still I love to sing your name. Still I'll tell of all your fame. Though the earth may shake beneath my feet and the world's not all as it may seem, you're faithful.